Daily Red Devil. Let's try this again, hopefully now with sound. I do apologise for that. On the show this morning, we have so much to get into, but before we do that, please do me a small favour. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Bottom right-hand corner, just about to hit 41,000 subscribers, so make sure you go and do that right now. And be sure to like the video as well. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode, please. So on the show this morning, we are going to be reacting to a mega bid rejected by Lecce for Patrick Dorgu. We'll also be talking about Manchester United potentially swapping Alejandro Garnacho with Christopher Nkunku, and also a little bit on Antony and some other outgoings. Right, but before we do that, I've got a question to start the show off, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you swap Alejandro Garnacho with Chelsea for Christopher Nkunku? Let me know what you think. Right, let's go straight into this one then. I'll give you my thoughts in a minute, but make sure to let me know whether you would do this swap deal below. So this is coming out from Sky Sports this morning, and they are reporting that Manchester United and Chelsea are now discussing a swap deal involving Alejandro Garnacho and Christopher Nkunku. It says there is no final decision yet, but this swap deal is an idea which is being discussed. And then it also goes on to say that Manchester United are now seriously considering signing Christopher Nkunku. United have already made direct contact with Chelsea. Now, how does everybody feel about that? Let me know your thoughts now. I'm going to give you mine immediately. Why? This is an awful, awful, awful deal. But it screams Manchester United. And do you know why it screams Manchester United? Because it's signing another injury-prone player. We did it with Mason Mount a year and a half ago. We gave Chelsea 55 million for a player who can barely play one game without getting injured. And now you've got Christopher Nkunku, who last season alone missed 48 games through injury. The season before that, he missed 22 games through injury. So if you look at his average over the last 2 years, he's missed 30 games on average per season over the last 2 years, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And then you compare that with Alejandro Garnacho, right? Alejandro Garnacho, over his whole career has only missed 14 games. I mean, it's completely uncomparable, isn't it? 30 games a season and 14 games over your whole career. And if that wasn't bad enough, all you then have to do is go and have a little look at the salaries of these two players. So Alejandro Garnacho is paid £50,000 a week by Manchester United, which is around £2.5 million per season. Okay? Fine. I think he's worth that. I think he deserves the 50 grand a week. Whereas Christopher Nkunku is on £195,000 per week, which is just over £10 million. So he's on 4 times the salary of Alejandro Garnacho. And if that wasn't bad enough, he's also 7 years older than Garnacho. I mean, there is no planet where this is a good deal for Manchester United. Apparently, the reports this morning suggest that Chelsea value Nkunku at £70 million, but yet are only willing to pay £60 million for Garnacho. It's one of the strangest kind of transfer stories I think we've had this window. It makes zero sense. To me, anyway, I don't get it. I would take Nkunku on loan with no obligation to buy if they bought Garnacho for like £70 million, maybe. You know, like, maybe. But I would never sign Nkunku in relation to swapping him with Garnacho. You know, you've got one player in Garnacho who could be one of the best wingers in the world in the next couple of years. And then you've got a player in Christopher Nkunku who, since he's come to Chelsea, has just been injured the whole time and barely played. Now, just to be fair, Nkunku has had a little bit better fortunes with injuries this season. I don't think he's been injured yet this season, but obviously the last 2 years to miss 30 games a season on average is a worry. If you look at his stats for this season, though, he has been quite good. He's got 17 goals and assists so far this season in 28 games, which is decent. I think that's, you know, you can't really criticise that. If you compare that to Garnacho's got 13 goals and assists in 33 games. So his stats this season have been a lot better than Garnacho's, to be fair. But does that make him worth 4 times the price for a player who could just join United and just be injured? I would say no. I think it's a really, really bad deal to do. But I would love to know what you guys think about this one. Would you swap Garnacho in exchange for Christopher Nkunku? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But let's move on from that, though. Let's talk a little bit about Patrick Dorgu, shall we? So the reports this morning is suggesting, this is coming out from Fabrizio Romano, saying that apparently Lecce have now turned down Manchester United's new bid for Patrick Dorgu. Apparently the bid was worth around 30 million euros, which I think is still more than he's worth. And Fabrizio was saying that apparently Lecce are insisting on £34 million for Patrick Dorgu, which in euros is 40.5 million euros. I mean, what planet are these people living on? They've got a player here in Patrick Dorgu who's 20 years of age, right? He's playing for a relegation fighting team in the Serie A. I think he's been captained. I think he's played once or twice for the Denmark national team. And they think he's worth 40 million euros. I mean, if this guy's worth 40 million euros, right? Patrick Dorgu, then how much is someone like Diogo Dalot worth? And I don't even rate Diogo Dalot, to be honest, but it just doesn't make any sense. We got Mazraoui in the summer, who plays in the same position, has way more experience, is probably a better player. So to be fair, he doesn't play in the same position. He plays on the other side, but you get what I mean. He's a defender. He's a winger, a right back, and we paid for him total 15 million euros. I know he's a little bit older. He's 5 years older, okay, but still, like, I just don't understand what planet these people are living on. It makes zero sense to me where they've got this 40 million euros valuation from. I mean, in their defense, maybe they think if they keep him, they might avoid relegation. You know, maybe he's the difference between staying in Serie A and getting relegated. And if he is, then I guess he probably is worth 40 million euros to them. But if Man United were to sell Garnacho, right, for 50, 60 million euros, which is what's being reported, and then go and buy this guy that nobody had even heard of until about a week ago, I think it would be an awful deal, a terrible deal. So I don't know. I don't know what to think at the moment. I think, you know, the deals that have been done so far, the Antony deal, I mean, that was quite good. But at the moment, we're a week away from the window closing and we've done nothing else. So it's not great, is it? So yeah, the general gist of it is this: either Manchester United pay 40 million for Patrick Dorgu, or they don't get him. That's the story. And that's coming out from Fabrizio Romano this morning. 40 million euros or no deal, because he goes on to say that Lecce believe that more clubs will be interested in the summer. Because you have to remember, Napoli were interested. I think Tottenham were trying to sign him last summer, so there is genuine interest there from other clubs. But I just think 30 million euros is a lot of money to offer them. That was what the bid was yesterday. A 30 million euros bid was rejected by Lecce for Patrick Dorgu, and they're demanding 40. Do you think we should go any higher? That's the question. Let me know your thoughts below. Should Manchester United increase their offer? 30 million euros is £25 million. Do Manchester United bump their bid up a bit? I mean, what's like 28? I just think the problem that you have here is, again, you're paying for potential. Patrick Dorgu might come to Manchester United, and in 2 or 3 years he could be a £60 million player, right? But he could also come to Manchester United, and in 2 or 3 years he might be a £5 million player. There's absolutely no guarantees whatsoever, and Lecce are effectively asking for a price which reflects him becoming the player they think he's going to become. Because there's no way he's worth 40 million euros today at the point of recording this video. He's probably worth, I would say, if this was a Brighton trying to sign him, or a West Ham or somebody like that, they'd probably sell him for like 25 million euros, I reckon, around that figure. But because it's Manchester United, and because now they know that there's big clubs with lots of money interested in him, Lecce are getting greedy. And do you know what will probably happen, right? This is my guess. We won't sign him, and then in the summer, he'll move to Napoli for like 20 million euros. I can almost see it happening now. That's blatantly what will happen here. Because that's always what seems to happen. You know, there's a price for the UK clubs and a price for the Italian clubs. So I guess it makes sense. If Manchester United come knocking, you know that they're terrible at transfers, and you know that they have way more money than the Italian club. So, you might say we want 40 million, and Man United might be stupid enough to pay it. But yeah, for me, I don't mind missing out on him. I think if we can get Alvaro Fernandez back instead, then we should just do that. He's only, I think, £15 million is the Alvaro Fernandez buyback clause. So Yeah, I think he would be a better option at this stage because we need, I've said this before, we need maybe 5 or 6 players to get Ruben Amorim playing the way he wants to play. You know, left wing back, right wing back, CDM, striker, a couple of cams. Like, we need so many players. We can't be spending 40 million euros on a player that no one's even heard of until about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, that's my take on that. People in the chat are saying, what about Kirkez? I heard Kirkez was going to Liverpool, but I don't know whether that's been confirmed yet. Somebody in the chat saying that apparently Alvaro Fernandez has told his agent he doesn't want to go back to Manchester United. Where have you read that then? I've not seen that. Let's have a look if I can find that story. I can't see anything about Alvaro Fernandez saying he wants to not come back. Yeah, I can't see anything. The only quote I can see about Alvaro Fernandez is the one where he says that he owes Manchester United everything. But I think that was an old quote, to be fair. So, yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest. I do think from the player's side, for his development, Alvaro Fernandez staying at Benfica till the summer is a more sensible option, to be honest, because he did only leave Manchester United in May last year. So he's only played like half a season for Benfica so far. And I think from a player's perspective, he would get way more benefit, I think, from being in a Benfica side who are in the Champions League, who are second in the Portuguese league, only 3 points behind Sporting Lisbon. Like, they're in a title race over there. Whereas if he comes back to Manchester United, he's in a relegation. Well, I mean, we are technically in a relegation battle, aren't we? I know it doesn't seem. I know people will be like, "Oh no, we're not." But you know, if we were to lose to Fulham, then and the other teams below us win, then the gap's just going to get less and less. So we're closer to the relegation zone than we are to the top 4, aren't we? That's the point I'm making here. And if you have a look at the table, it's pretty difficult for us to get into the top half of the table now. Even if we beat Fulham on Sunday, which I'm not confident we will, we'll still be 4 points behind them. Whereas if you look towards the bottom of the table, I mean, we are 10 points away from the relegation zone. It would be, yeah, I'd be very surprised if we fall down any more, but I don't know. You never know in football, do you? But let me know what you think about all of that. Loomis says, Kieran, what do you think Ruben Amorim's impact is on transfers so far? He seems quiet and not demanding any player. Well, remember, right? Ruben Amorim is a coach. He's not a manager. Erik ten Hag was a manager. And the difference is, a manager, I think, has way more involvement in the transfers. We know that Erik ten Hag had a veto over transfers, whereas Ruben Amorim doesn't. I think, to be honest, Ruben Amorim's going to be given whatever he can get. Whereas I think Erik ten Hag did have a little bit more involvement in the deals and who to sign and all the rest of it. So, I don't know. I think Ruben Amorim's job is to coach the players, whereas Erik ten Hag was the scout, he was the director of football, he was doing like 5 or 6 jobs. I think he was coaching the youth team at one point. So, yeah, I just think the simplicity is that Ruben Amorim has less involvement in the transfers than Erik ten Hag did, which probably will work out better in the long run because it means that we're signing players that Manchester United have identified opposed to players that Erik ten Hag had at previous clubs. So, yeah. What else have we got? I think that's probably I think, is there anything else? Obviously, the video being silent for the first 5 minutes kind of threw me off a bit. Oh, yeah, the final bit is about Antony. Antony has now landed in Sevilla. Manchester United apparently will receive 84% of his weekly wage from Real Betis. So that's good. That's not a bad loan deal. We thought that we were going to have to pay most of his wages, but apparently Real Betis will be paying at least 84% of his wages, and there are bonuses and other incentives. So that deal's worked out not too bad. And some are even saying that if Antony performs at Real Betis, the loan transfer will actually end up making a bit of a profit because there's all these bonuses and stuff in the contract. So not a bad deal there. Does it allow us to go and spend money on somebody else? Not really. I I did a little calculation this morning, and I think it's around £1.5 million that we'll save in wages. I mean, that doesn't really get you anywhere, does it? 1.5 million. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I've got quite a few things I need to do today. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak